All right. I didn't do a video since 2022, huh? Happy 2022. This year is gonna be a very this year is gonna be very, very interesting, right? This pull up our socks year. This is everything you've been learning. Well, 2020 was that year too. All between 2020, 2022, and beyond is application, application, application of what we've been learning over these last. It would depend on what stage you're at in your own consciousness development. For some, you'll be going through for the first time these new realizations of what has been occurring on the planet for a very, very long time, right? And it's an ongoing process of learning. So, welcome, right? And so, I was reflecting on how I actually started learning about energy work, about energy in general. So the one of the previous videos I would have mentioned my experience with the intuition, right, and tuning into that aspect of it, and I went through a near-death experience, and so in the initial stages of when I went to college, so the first year, that would have been around 2012. Yeah, it was 2012. So around 2013. So this would have been January 2013. It first came, this was after the Christmas holiday, and I actually was invited to go to a crystal shop, and I actually purchased my first set of crystals. And one of them was a blue calcite. And eventually, a friend of mine pointed out to me that the calcite had a particular type of frequency, and that opened my consciousness to actually thinking or having the idea that maybe these things actually do have subtle energy. Because at first I didn't really believe it. I was more like logical, doing engineering, like. So I mean, I had I did have the feeling that yes, they do have an effect, and I did study a bit, just a little bit of it, but I didn't really like fully like know it until I actually started to feel the subtle energies coming from the crystal. And so the first experience of that felt like a climbing, stair stepping type of frequency. One of it actually felt like people were staring at me all around me, and it was increasing. And when I actually researched the crystal blue calcite, one of the properties or one of the spiritual properties was actually helping you with public speaking. And if I kept it around me, that was where it would lead to actually getting used to like people staring at you, attention being on you. So I was like, okay, let's put that in back office. So I usually put stuff in the back office until I get more confirmation. So I actually started researching subtle energies and the energies of crystals. Now I can't remember the scientific terms of it, but some of the research had linked to I can't remember if it's peptides, it's some kind of senses that the skin usually has that would send electrical signals through the cells to communicate, right? So it has the ability to pick up on these subtle energies that come from crystals or any object for that matter. So I actually start so with that knowledge, um, that scientific knowledge, I was actually able to unlock like a key unlock a certain aspect of my own consciousness that allowed me to actually begin the process of sensing subtle energy. Yeah. So I started with that. I started with crystals. At first I couldn't really feel the energy unless I held my breath. So it would usually be like this, like holding my breath and trying to feel objects. And after a while I started to be able to move, so I started slowly moving my hand and feeling the object. So a crystal is one of the easiest things, um, because those energies are a little higher than maybe like a pencil or even fruit. You could try fruit, right? Because that's a living being or a plant. Okay, so eventually, from moving my hand subtly to actually moving my hand right all over and still being able to pinpoint my consciousness onto sensing the object. After a while, I started to walk and then run. You know, practice different ways of like feeling the energy while fixing my focus on the subtle energy coming from the particular crystal. So then it again started to progress. So constant seeking. That's where it is, right? You know, it just constantly continue to move. Never really saying, okay, I can feel subtle energy now. I'm staying right here. No, don't do that. Keep moving. So it eventually evolved into me actually now moving or sensing from a distance. So this would tie into where, okay, so yeah, I could explain this. So this would tie into me when I learned first learned energy work. So initially I learned Reiki, right? So this would be Holy Fire Reiki, and then I eventually kind of like moved out, or more so moved into uh, an attunement or a self attunement that was more in alignment with my my soul journey, like where my soul came from, the light that my inner essence expressed or is looking to express within this realm, right? But I first initially started out learning Reiki, and then it evolved from there. So when I started learning Reiki, I um, when I first got attuned to Reiki, I started practicing on some of my friends that were living on dorm, right? And I would actually feel when you're doing the laying of hands, I would feel my energy body actually like move and go to certain areas that may need attention or energy work next, right? So I would be able to sense where the energy wanted to go next, so where I would place my hands next. Um, but what I noticed was that people were actually able to feel these energy hands, like maybe by their head or by their feet or by their shoulders when it was by like their head. And so from there I actually started practicing on myself using these energy hands, even though I didn't need to, right? From there, I actually started using the energy hands to sense things from a distance. Again, you know, um, if you're familiar with like Naruto, he actually does this energy hand thing where he extends his like an energy hand out, and it can grow big, it can grow small. He can actually have two energy hands on his finger. Um, Stuff like that. So because I was watching Naruto or anime in general, I was able to use my conscious thought to actually direct energy or change its shape, change its programming. At that time, I was unaware of all the technicality of it, but that was what it was. Again, I started to practice more. It evolved. I started working on distance, which again I had to bring down the barriers of the logical mind and learn about quantum physics, learn about how everything is entangled. So when we actually do energy work, it's technically like you're connecting to those who are within ourselves. So all of us are connected on the inside. Yeah. So yeah, quantum resonance, field generation, morphogenetic fields. So I had to study all of that in order for me to actually unlock, again, just opening doors to connect to the intuitive sense or the right brain. So yeah, um, yeah. So right. So that was a little tangent to kind of like explain the backstory of where I got the whole sending my subtle energy hands out to touch objects and sense them from a distance. So I'd be walking around supermarkets and you would see me like holding up my hands and trying to sense the fruit or sense maybe like plants, sensing certain objects, even sensing like meat, right? And I actually would notice like certain types of magnetic fields. So some magnetic fields or some subtle energies would be expansive, and others would be kind of like acting like a almost like a black hole, right? And I would know like which ones are resonant with me. My body would I would feel my entire body like vibrate, and that which wasn't, I would get like a upset stomach kind of feeling like nope. Yeah. So again, the practice was there. I had to do the practice in order to to become a lot more proficient at certain types of maybe like energy direction, energy molding, for example, using the conscious thought, conscious mind. The energy is technically like you could see it like program. If you could imagine like what programmable matter would be, our minds actually mold the energy. Yeah. So I would practice like chi ball type techniques, and then from there, from forming a chi ball in the hand, right? Shape it into other things. Create duplicates of maybe like a pencil, or even like a cell phone, anything like that, and actually feel the reality of the object within your hand. the energy, the essence of the object within your hand. Again, all of that is basically connecting into the quantum fields, connecting into the subtle energy systems, right, of the hologram that we're existing in right now. So yeah, that's, I mean, I was kind of like pondering on all of that recently, because it was around this time where it all started again for me, from one stage back in 2011 to another stage, from feeling energies to getting into energy work, right, to evolving from there in terms of learning certain modalities, different types of modalities, and then eventually tapping into my own crystalline modality. All now I still trying to it evolves over time, so it changes in its name. So um, in the next couple of years it could be something completely different as it expands, as I become uh, more aware of my union with the all. Yeah, so yeah, this year is for all of us. It's gonna be very interesting. We're tapping into more of the bio spiritual sense of everything. Physically, a lot of changes are occurring. We're gonna be experiencing a lot of revelations when it comes to everything that's happening right now on the planet, and that will bring forth a new way, a new wave, a new series of experiences for the collective, right? And it is within us. We have to shine our light. We came here for a specific reason, and it is within us all, truly. As we tap into ourselves more, we connect to our cells, our cellular structure, right? Our DNA holds the keys, holds the information of who we truly are. And we begin to shine that light. Remember our sovereign path as emanations of the infinite creator. Right? So yeah. So leave comments. I'm gonna leave my some information in the description box below as well. You can check out my Telegram channel. I've been posting some stuff on there, just to safeguard everything, given everything that's going on right now. So yeah, be the light you wish to see in the world.